As adversaries go, Inspector King of the CPD was the best I had come up against. No man had presented a bigger challenge to Magnus Carlsen. I knew the inspector had done a great deal of homework on me, and I also knew I was in for a tough test ahead in just trying to keep my cool. But cool I must be if I was going to topple the king, as he liked to think of himself.
Look here, Carlson. You're not up against the average player here. There are several things I need to clear up with you about the job last night.
Whatever you want, Inspector King. I like to help out wherever I can.
You switched nights. All my intel, all my thinking, everything expected to go down, went down. Of the 2 nights, you went with the second. Why the sudden switch?
Would you believe me if I told you it was just to keep you guessing? To throw you off the scent?
I'd like to believe you, but that surely wasn't your original intention, was it? You would have known I'd be watching your every move. Only I outsmarted you, yet you would have known that too. So why the change in tactics?
What can I say, Inspector King? I was let down by one of my men. I knew from the start the bishop played by his own rules. I also knew he had a price, and King was happy to pay that price for information that might lead to him getting his man. Me.
A rookie move, Carlson. Don't ever trust a man of the cloth. What happened? You left the bishop babysitting one of his boys again?
Why should I tell you what went down with the bishop? Maybe it was the weather. Nothing is ever as simple as black and white, as you know.
What if I ran my investigation by the weather? I like things to be just that. Black and white. You're not leaving until I got this figured out. Only I get to decide whether you're going home tonight, so why not make things easy on yourself and tell me the bishop couldn't back you up the first night?
Yeah, maybe you just missed something, Inspector King. I realized the bishop had been compromised. I had to come up with another idea. Later that evening, the bishop mentioned something about getting even with the inspector and offered me a trade, a sweetener for King. I had to let him know just who was in charge and how he worked for me. The bishop was my man, but he was expendable if needs be. To ensure that he was still on the payroll, I had to point out a few things to him, to let him know who was pulling his strings and how important it was to trap the inspector, to get the king just where we would hurt him most. Yeah, we were supposed to clear up on the first night, but, I thought it was a dumb move when I saw you were on the offensive. Your goons had eyes on the bishop, so I had to change things about a bit. Seemed an obvious choice.
Trying to make a fool out of me, huh? I've been watching you every step of the way, Carlson. I know when you're up to something. You think you can tie the king up in knots? I knew you were building up for a fast move, so I had to make you think it was your decision. I had to be resourceful, something that I'm a grand master at.
And what you didn't seem to get, Inspector, was that I was bluffing on both nights. You're right, the moment I saw the bishop was compromised, I knew it was going to be too dangerous to continue with the first night. I saw you knew that too. So I waited to see what your intentions were, whether you would sacrifice your men on the inside for the bigger prize.
You think you're some sort of a wise ass, Carlson? Well, let me tell you this. Nobody gets to cross me. You don't get to take me down so easily.
We're all expendable, Inspector. Sometimes a rookie comes along and takes you down just when you're not looking.
Well, that someone won't be you. I had you figured out all along. And you have just blown yourself wide open. Right there. I saw you coming.
Really, Inspector? Oh, you got me there. Smoke?
You don't get to play the wise ass with me. Now tell me this. How did you get mixed up with the Night Queen?
They work the nights just like us. Good at it, too. Some of them. Queenie was someone I trusted more than anyone else in my game. She'd never let me down and knew just how I ticked. After all, like me, she'd play undesirables for everything they had. Gullible marks, as we called them, were prized assets in both our worlds. And she'd made her own way from some of the biggest saps in the business. I dropped many an influential mark her way. Philandering husbands, dirty business partners, crooked lawyers and judges, even bent cops weren't above her ambitions.
I ought to slap you right there for that cheap shot.
Maybe that's the difference between you and me, Inspector. I do this just for fun. We both understand the rules, but I know how to win in this game. Oh, look, this isn't going anywhere, Inspector. You still haven't got a thing on me.
You have told me all I need to know, Carlson. I am just one move away from putting your sorry ass in check.
I'm not telling you anything you didn't already know.
You never do. But this time I've got you, Carlson. One last question. You could have switched to a safe house. Why didn't you?
If the Night Queen hadn't screwed you over, you would have seen me coming. But you had to choose the path of vanity. Screwed over by the wrong knight, screwed over by the bishop, screwed over by the queen. Checkmate, Inspector.
The Queen's Gambit?
The Queen's closing gambit, Inspector King.
All finished?
How you going there?
Yeah.
Done? Wow.
Good job.
Fantastic. Yeah, looks like you've done well.
Good adversary.